This is a video to help with understanding the difference between bodies and components in Fusion 360. In order to give us a basic understanding of the difference between bodies and components, we're going to go ahead and create some sketches and create some solids. So I'm going to click on Create Sketch, and let's just click on any work plane you wish. I'm going to click on this kind of bottom work plane, and I'm going to hit the letter C on my keyboard, which is a quick shortcut for the circle command. And let's go out to the origin, and I'm going to click on the origin, and as I drag out, I want to hit the number 2 and hit enter. I want a circle that has a diameter of 2. Now, we want to extrude this up to give it 3 dimensions. So I'm going to hit the letter E on my keyboard. That's a quick shortcut for the extrude command. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the number 2. And you'll notice it's going to go ahead and go from 2D to 3D now. We now have ourselves a solid. Now, on the right-hand side where we have extrude, there's an operation. It's going to automatically, for your first extrusion or your first thing that's going from a sketch to a solid, it's going to default to new body. We will eventually talk about new components here a little bit later in the video, but for the sake of where we're headed, we're going to click on new body, and we're going to say OK. And you'll see over in your browser menu that you have something new. You can have this new folder called bodies, and if I check, this window and cascade it down, you'll notice that I have something that says body 1. I have a component that has a body in it, and I can have separate bodies within components. Components are like separate pieces that you would, let's say, snap together. Bodies are parts of those pieces. So to further understand this a little bit further, let's hit letter E on our keyboard, and let's click on top of our cylinder, and let's hit the number 2. And notice over here where it says operation, it says join, and it's asking, do you want to add mass to your existing body, or do you want to do something else? And what we want to do for this video is we're going to go down to new body and click on new body. Now we have 2 separate pieces that are part of one component. Let's go ahead and say OK. And I now have myself 2 separate bodies. I could turn off the visibility of the top body if I want to do something to the bottom body. I can turn off the visibility of that top one just for the bottom. I can flip these on and off as I wish. Let's go ahead and create a 3rd cylinder body on top of our solid. And I'm going to hit the letter E on our keyboard. I'm going to click on top here. I'm going to hit the number 2. And where it says join, I don't want to add mass to body 2. I want to create a new body. And say OK. There's multiple ways that this can be beneficial, and just one quick way of understanding how Fusion sees faces and it sees bodies is in the Appearance tab. So let's go to Modify, and let's go to Appearance. And when I click on Appearance, this is just how we're going to paint the object. And up at the top, you can see it's asking you, do you want to do bodies or components, or do you want to do faces? If I wanted to paint, I could say only, the top of this I would want, let's say, green or something. In this case, we're going to stay with bodies and components because as I drag and drop colors out of this menu, by the way, I'm in a glossy paint. I'm in paint and in glossy paint right now. If I wanted to drag and drop colors out onto bodies, I can just click and hold down, and notice that Fusion references 3 separate bodies of one component. And if I drag and drop that, only the bottom body is now yellow. I can drag and drop out, let's say, red to the middle. I'm going to come up here for green. I can click and just drag on the solid. Notice that it's highlighting what's in the menu. So I can just drag and drop on body 3 in the browser as well, and that's going to go ahead and give me 3 separate bodies in one component, but they're all colored different. I want you to notice that I'm clicking and holding down and trying to drag these away from each other, and I can't because they're all part of one component. They are not necessarily separate components. They might be separate bodies, but they're part of one entity. So as we gain a little bit of an understanding of bodies within components, let's go ahead and create a component when we extrude. So let's go up to extrude again, and we're going to click on top of our cylinder, and I'm going to hit the number 2 again. And where it says join, let's go to new component. And when I click on new component, it's going to go ahead and obviously default to our gray metallic kind of color, and I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And now in our browser we have something that says component 1, and component 1 is an entirely separate component. You'll notice up here at the top we have now a new symbol. That means that we have an original component that we started with, and now we've added a component to this. So this now has become in its way a form of an assembly. Because this component is separate from our original component, I can now drag this off over here to the side. It is entirely separate from this component that has 3 bodies to it, if that would make sense. So we have a component over here by itself that I can move, and if I was going to come up and use the joint commands up here, I could assemble this onto this object, but these are now 2 separate things. I have one component with 3 bodies, and I have one component over here by itself with just only one body. The way I can know that is by clicking on our little triangle next to component 1, seeing bodies, and now I see that as just a body by itself. What's nice about Fusion is, I have these 3 separate bodies, but what if I was thinking, I really want body 3 to be its own component now. I've changed my mind. I can right-click on body 3 and go down to Create Components from Bodies. I now have for myself a new component, and now the green cylinder is its own entity. The red and the yellow bodies are only a part of our original component. I could do this for body 2 as well. I can right-click, create components from bodies. I now have for myself 4 separate components that are just by themselves that I could snap together different ways. I could put them in a different order if I wanted to. A lot of different ways, things you can do with bodies and components. Just while we're here, if I wanted to 3D print any one of these objects, this makes it kind of convenient in the sense that I can just highlight whatever component that I want to 3D print, right-click on that component and go to Save as Mesh. Choose a format, choose a unit type, choose a refinement level, say OK. I 3D print in Cura, but if I said, I don't really want to export this to anything, I can just uncheck this box and I can go ahead and say OK. I'll go ahead and say Cancel for now. If this body right here that I have to go back into our main assembly up here at the top by going back to where I can see everything. Just this body by itself. If I wanted to 3D print just that body, I can right-click on that body, go to Save as Mesh, and 3D print just that body. A lot of very convenient features in Fusion, but understanding the difference between bodies and components is kind of a key element in understanding what makes Fusion work when you are creating solids, you're creating components, and when you're going to start getting into the fabrication process. So this has been a video for how to go about understanding the difference between bodies and components in Fusion 360.